नमस्ते A warm welcome to RTV. RTV में सभी का स्वागत है. Today we have another eminent artist with us, Deviprasad C who's based in Switzerland. Deviprasad C has spent an adventurous 20 years plus his time and experience in the field of art. And being a self-taught artist, a self-made artist, it would be very interesting to know his adventure in this field of art and how successful he has been and his thought process in creating this brilliant body of work. So welcome, Deviprasad. A warm welcome
Thank
to
you.
Art TV.
Thank you.
Yeah. Deviprasad, before I begin with the main questions, I would like to know, because you were, what I understand is you were in the corporate world long
Yes.
back, 20 years,
Yes.
22 years back.
Yeah.
And suddenly one day, abruptly, early morning, you wake up, have a tea and decide, I'm no more going to be in the in the corporate world, I'm going to be in this art field. Now this abrupt decision to quit a good paying, a well-paying corporate job and to enter into this terrain of art world where you have no clue, you are a self-made, you did not know where to go, how to go, what to do and all, but suddenly you decide and then you walk. Now, how is that decision and how was that experience? What's that? I would like to know about that.
Yes. It was a long time back now. I mean, it is 2 decades back, actually. It didn't happen suddenly, but yes, I was into marketing and PR and also freelance journalism. Basically, I was into public relations, where I used to organize people's or products, brand image, and portray it through the media in connection with journalists and media houses. Yes, that was one of the jobs. Yes, I used to work with the Fortune 500 companies. It was that time it was paying very well. That was also my own consultancy I used to do. Yes, but that job was satisfying and I was moving forward. But during that time also there is some drastic changes happened in my personal life. Yes, I got married and my marriage went into trouble. And I was having a traumatic periods and I was almost getting suicidal. And but also I had kids that time and I don't wanted to walk that path, and I wanted to heal myself, and I wanted to regain my personal confidence, and move forward in life. And I don't wanted to walk that dark path. So after attempting to kill myself twice, I just started healing myself. And when I started healing myself, I went to a couple of healing people, and they told me every time that, Devi, you are born for creating colorful things. You are not supposed to walk this dark path. Start doing what you like to do. Yeah, I said that I was very happy when in my childhood, when I used to draw. I mean, always I used to draw in childhood, and I saw my father's painting, and after that I also wanted to do painting. So I started meaninglessly started painting again, and after 1 year or 2 years I felt good about it, and somebody saw one of my work, and rather a couple of works, and then they told me my work looked like Paul Klay's work. And I said, who is Paul Klay? I had no idea, because I was never thinking of becoming an artist, I was just painting for the sake of feeling good about myself and reconnecting with myself. And Paul Klay, who is this Paul Klay? I thought it's a very Christian name, and he must be from Bandra or Goa somewhere, I never thought he was a master. He was a master artist from Germany, Switzerland. When I got to know his work, and it was like good inspiration, that was the beginning. Like, wow, it is somebody connected me to Paul Klay. Okay, I mean, then I started looking at Paul Klay's work. By that time,
Mm-hmm.
I only knew Picasso and Michelangelo and Da Vinci, or only these couple of names. But
Mm-hmm.
modern artists, not so much artists. We had no opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Neither I had no interest in art as such.
Mm-hmm.
And that inspired me to paint more. And then I started looking at art and looking at artworks of Paul Klee, studied him a bit and understood what he went through, and started doing more and more works. Then I started traveling one day,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody bought my work in my
Yeah.
company. One of my own client bought a couple of my works. He said,
Yeah.
Devi, this is very good abstract works, and I would like to buy a few of them. So he
Excellent.
bought my work,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, I went to Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went to Barcelona because some before that somebody also looked at my work, and they said that your work looked like Miro's work.
Okay.
I said, now who is this Miro now again, And
Mm-hmm.
then I saw Miro's work. Oh my God, I just felt so pleased that the child inside me came alive
Mm-hmm.
again, and I
Mm-hmm.
was again ready to learn and open myself, and only one wish I had was to go and see Miro's work in original. So I went to Barcelona,
Mm-hmm.
and luckily I had a friend there, and we visited to see the Miro Foundation. We visited, and I wanted to see one work of him that is
Mm-hmm.
inspired me, called Blue 123. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, in Barcelona, I couldn't find it, but I saw the entire gamut of his works, and it was really happy. And 2002, when I came back, I was working with one company that time as a PR consultant. I
Mm-hmm.
just decided to quit everything one day and just live as an artist. I started moving forward from that point on to
Mm-hmm.
just leave everything. And one day in 2004, it took a few years
Mm-hmm.
to me to reorganize myself, because I had financial responsibilities of family and taking care of everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
so eventually I just quit everything. One day I packed my bag and I went to Goa, and I
Okay.
started living there as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I arrived there, first thing I did was to create a gallery,
Okay.
art gallery of my own.
Mm-hmm.
And that gallery was not supposed to be only for myself, also for myself alone. It was actually inspired by my cousin. He knew my childhood and how I was, and he said that I'm going to support you. If you
Mm-hmm.
that is the path you want to walk, just go
Mm-hmm.
and leave everything if you it makes you happy. I said, yes, it makes me immensely happy, and I feel coming alive again, and I want to walk this path. Even if it is difficult, I would like to walk this path. So I left
Mm-hmm.
everything. I knew that it is not easy, but what is a big deal? I mean, if it makes you happy, why not follow that
Mm-hmm.
path? So I just left everything, went to Goa, you know, told everybody I'm just going for a few months and coming back then. But I knew that I'm never going to come back, and
Mm-hmm.
and again I'm not going to work anywhere, but just to work, follow my art, that heart's calling, and I followed, and I just continued and set up a gallery, moved on, kept on working, meeting artists, learning more about art history, learning more about art, contemporary art, modern art, everything. I mean, slowly,
Mm-hmm.
on the field, I started learning, and then I started helping other artists. That gave me also a shot in my arm, because I always felt very happy when somebody sold their paintings. In
Mm-hmm.
artist life, and I started realizing how difficult it is, and I
True.
just was happy even selling other paintings. That made me friendship with many other artists around, and
Mm-hmm.
that carried on, and then only one wish then I started developing is that I must have my own visual language.
Mm-hmm.
That took another 2 years of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, internal challenges. This is not any challenges from the external world. It is again internal challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I kept on pushing myself every day, talking to some artists, and trying to have these creative dialogues and know what they are doing, how they do, what they think, how one can evolve himself as an artist. Then one day I realized that, okay, what I need to do is that see everything is there, and then just do opposite of it.
Mm-hmm.
So one day it just happened. One day it just started flowing from me,
Mm-hmm.
because art is not only about getting educated about art, knowing art history as such. It is also life experience of yours should come together, and
Mm-hmm.
you should start expressing it. It should
Correct.
come in your sorry, it should come in your work. And
Mm-hmm.
there is always, we all have something called inner potential,
Mm-hmm.
and recognizing it or touching base with that is enough to bring out something very important. So that is the time I realized, okay, I should only focus now two
Mm-hmm.
things: not to do anything naive works, nor do any practiced works. To
Mm-hmm.
absolutely out of these two uh, path,
Mm-hmm.
stay away from these two ways. Because if you look, because meeting with most of the artists, I realized that many of them are doing very naive and practiced work. They are trying to do look good works.
Mm-hmm.
You no need to do always a look good work. You just
Do a
do
work.
work. Yeah, do a work
Mm-hmm.
which is important, that you it should it should have a quality to it, rather than just producing the same quantities, or in say, similar kind of works in different quantities. No, you
Mm-hmm.
just bring quality to it, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you do, and that is creativity. When
Mm-hmm.
you bring quality to it, then work will stand out. People
Okay.
may take time to digest it,
Mm-hmm.
but uh,
Eventually it will
eventually
happen.
it will happen. Yeah,
Correct.
eventually it will happen. So that is how I moved on. So it is from meaninglessly pushing myself to draw
Mm-hmm.
without looking at how I am doing, what I am doing, but just every day, like a scientist, every day you keep on making a little bit improvement.
Mm-hmm.
But I push yourself, not to stop doing that. You can stop for painting for a couple of days, it's okay, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
push in your mind every day, and then
Mm-hmm.
you keep on pushing it, and then slowly you arrive at somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All of us have that great potential. We are all creative beings.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, every creative being no need to be an artist, but if you are an artist, yes, you need to, I feel we need to keep on moving forward, not to
Mm-hmm.
have theorize anything immediately or judge anything immediately, but keep trying to touch base that inner potential that you have, and then slowly it comes.
Mm-hmm.
And also need to be aware of what's going on around you. So that art gallery that I had in Goa,
Mm-hmm.
called Dave's Art Gallery, for 3 years I ran it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that time I got and also exposed to many other artists. So
Mm-hmm.
I knew that what path I have to take. So I need to be creating something very distinguishing away from myself. So first I started painting, then I started destroying it. And
Mm-hmm.
in the process of making and constructing and deconstructing, I found my language. So I paint and then I make lines. I don't make lines and I paint. So this is
Mm-hmm.
my process. So I make paintings and then I make lines on top of them. And
Okay.
I uh, I
It's the other
do
way
it.
around. It's a reverse process, like.
It's a reverse, yeah. And so that's how I found myself. Okay, this is good. This is how I have to go now.
Very interesting. Very interesting with this. Like,
Sorry.
yeah. In fact, this was the question which I wanted to hit next. Was like from abruptly adventuring into this art field, and then to discover yourself with the distinct visual language. So you have told this, yeah. So in this process of construction and deconstruction, you arrived at your visual language and you presented, and that is the takeoff point of Deviprasad Rao. Am I right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's how.
Uh, yeah, yeah. I was just going through your website. I was just going through the couple of series what you have done. So I think it all began the first one with that construction and deconstruction series. But later on, if at all you see, you go to that floating world, you go to the Lisbon impact, you go to the industrial fragments, you go to the density series, you go to the We the People, the Society series. Now, one thing, a very keen observation which I've done is that it's not a pictorial image, but rather a life experience on your painting.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I look at your construction deconstruction series, it's absolutely an abstract work where you are making and breaking and making and breaking and making and breaking process. But when I see your Lisbon impact, keeping the attitude of this construction and deconstruction theory, you have very beautifully captured the attitude of Lisbon. So it's not just a mere landscape or a cityscape, but it's an attitude of that city. Now, can you just throw some light on this experience? Like, how did you get that attitude or that experience into visually and created that Lisbon impact?
When I want to paint something, I always
Yeah.
touch base with my child
Yeah.
inside.
Sorry to cut you. Another important question with this thing is, usually I have seen landscapes that depict images of the place. It
Yeah.
can be buildings, it can, but yours has the attitude of that particular city, particular the lifestyle, the way of life. So in your response, if you can add that also and tell us something about it.
Yeah. I was now when I touch base with my child, it is easy for me to create something.
Mm-hmm.
Child is always innocent. Innocent is reclaiming your innocence is the true maturity, actually.
True.
And in that from that point, I have uh, no kind of mental blocks about any art education or anything. So I no need to unlearn anything. I'm just there where I need to.
The child in you was simply
Yeah,
taking you.
yeah. So, but and everything so intuitively comes, but it comes out of a experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I go through those experiences. I mean, visual experiences, basically.
Mm-hmm.
For example, construction deconstruction has happened because in Goa that time there was a lot of new buildings are being constructed, and we are all being disturbed that so much of construction is happening. The beauty is being
Mm-hmm.
spoiled, and we were all having these dialogues and protests, and so many things were happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that construction and deconstruction is a series came out of that, actually.
Okay.
The dialogues that we were having in the society, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's an experience.
So the experience of a subtle protest.
Yeah, subtle protest, and or the visuals which I was walk
Mm-hmm.
by my on my path, I was watching how
Mm-hmm.
everything was changing. The Goa, it is not the same Goa which I used to know, and the Goa
Mm-hmm.
I moved. So it was changing. So that change is my experience. So that change is came to my work, and that's how I created.
Mm-hmm.
And after some time, I mean, like in 2013, I went to Lisbon,
Mm-hmm.
and it was my actually somebody ordered me to do a painting of Lisbon, but I couldn't do it. I had to
Mm-hmm.
cancel the order finally because I didn't visited that place. I
Mm-hmm.
tried, and I couldn't, because then I met a Portuguese consul general in Goa, and he said that you cannot catch Lisbon just watching photographs. No, you have to go there. Then
Mm-hmm.
you will understand what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and by that time, I also had met my wife and my present wife, and with her, I decided to go to Lisbon, and
Mm-hmm.
that time Portuguese consulate also helped me to go to Lisbon, and I started going. And I started visiting, walking around the city. It is such a city that I definitely photograph doesn't do that justice. A photograph cannot catch it because
Mm-hmm.
it is over the 7 hills and so many things. And then I just started walking all over the hills and going down and up and down
Mm-hmm.
every day. And I went once, twice, 6 months passed, no work is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And and by that time, I thought I was really started frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
that what's happening? I mean, why I can't create? I mean, because whatever I was creating, it was like a normal,
Mm.
cityscape work. I mean, that I
Yeah.
don't want it to create something like that. My visual language has to be there. Without
Mm.
that, I cannot bring it out. Then one day it suddenly came,
Okay.
and then no stop. And I showed this work to one of the museum there called Museum of Oriental.
Mm.
It's called Museo de Orient, and they immediately liked it, and they said that they would like to host an exhibition of this series.
Okay.
Then I went again and again, couple of more times. So I spent a lot of time in Lisbon, and I stayed there, met people. I sat with them, ate
Mm.
with them. I mean, for example, I'm a vegetarian. I mean, Lisbon is not a great vegetarian place to eat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the people eat a lot of meat there. But
Mm-hmm.
I was happy to have pumpkin soup for the breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and pumpkin soup for the lunch, and
Yeah.
pumpkin soup for the dinner, and eat a piece of bread with that. But
Mm-hmm.
I developed a lot of friends there, and
Mm-hmm.
they gave me the input. And it is them, and such a beautiful friends. They used to just host me, like, I had no need to pay money to stay there. People
Mm.
would call me, you come this time to stay with me, and I will take you there, take you here. So people introduced me each and every corner of it.
So
Then I
your PR skills in the corporate help you here.
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, you should in PR we always say that every person is important. Nobody
Mm.
is unimportant as such. Always
Correct.
keep in touch, wish them good, and keep moving, and then
Yeah.
you can just say that what you have to say. Just
Mm.
mention a company you are working. That is also a promotion of your brand. But yeah, I wanted to know Lisbon, so I got to know Lisbon, and then somehow introduced, and yeah, that's how I ended up finally doing this exhibition with Museo de Orient. And yeah, even today around 58 works are in this museum's permanent collection.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. The now when I see a couple of your series from construction deconstruction to Lisbon impact, and then suddenly you come down to floating series,
Yeah.
or you go to density series now. I find this like your it's a terrain one. It's not something like you are switching from topic to topic. They're all like one related to another. It's like huge. There's a shift. Now, how do you shift from one thing to another one, and then you start working on that? Because, for example, if I see a floating world, if I see a density, if I see a industrial fragments, if I see a Lisbon, they it looks, yes, the visual language, the signature style of Prasad is definitely there, but the attitude and the conceptual idea of these individual series, they are not in the same pattern, or they're not same in the same way. How do you I find it as a terrain, how do you cope up, how do you work on that?
Uh, I cannot exactly say because it comes out of my experience, and it is very difficult to explain an experience
Mhm.
since it is not my knowledge what it is that happens to me. But still, I'm a meditator. I meditate, and I also read a lot of books of spiritual masters. And one of them who made impact to me is Osho, and
Mhm.
he always, his books are always like he used to say, confusion to clarity, you know.
Mhm.
So you have two extremes. He always shows you the two extremes, like, darkness to light, it's
Mhm.
always there. It is, you're not always in the light, or you are not
Mhm.
always in the dark. You go
Mhm.
and shift between these two things. And I
Mhm.
have seen that in my internally myself, that I can go from complexity to simplicity, or density to emptiness.
Mhm.
It is I have seen this. So, and at the same time, I also realized that if I might have found a visual language, but I may be doing a series, for example, let us say Lisbon Impact, it is a very
Mhm.
successful, but as an artist, I don't want to keep on doing that every passing year, because
Mhm.
if if you keep on doing it, people will also get bored.
Mm-hmm.
of watching you, because then there is no, you are not creating new dialogue, because my intention to create whatever I do is to create some kind of a dialogue. People
Mm-hmm.
should respond some way. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
the response could be good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
People even throw stone at my work, that is a response. Or somebody tear my painting is also is a response,
Mm-hmm.
or criticize my works is also a response. So, but that I had, if people doesn't talk at all, don't talk at all about my work, then I'm doing something wrong. That is a
Okay.
time I need to. So how can you do that? I studied what Picasso did. Picasso, every 10 years his
Mm-hmm.
works had a different shift.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't had the same thing what he was doing. Every 10 years there is something different came out of
Mm-hmm.
him.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch most of the artists, they had they could sustain creation because they kept on doing a shift. That shift, it is happening to me naturally,
Mm-hmm.
because my life is also changing a lot of things. Like I was, there is there is a flood of experiences taking place. So I attempt which is very close to, which is easy for me to do that. I mean, I don't try to go through difficult times all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I just rather touch base what is easier for me. So, and I know that I can create what kind of things what I'm creating.
Mm-hmm.
So I created first was the floating world, which is because I said, my a lot of drawings I have a white space,
Mm-hmm.
and okay, how about creating that same thing, that white, instead of white space, colored spaces, and on top
Mm-hmm.
of it I put the forms on, and it become nice. It become created new thing into it, but I don't wanted to follow the same old visual language that I was doing in 2007 or 2000, and and I wanted to change, and I wanted to hold on to you. I believed in evolution, like every day
Mm-hmm.
evolve a bit more. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't evolve, then you will never progress.
Mm-hmm.
Progression is so important, and evolution, self evolution is so important in work. So I kept on experimenting both sides.
Mm-hmm.
It hand in hand it goes every day. So
Mm-hmm.
also to nowadays I create just action paintings, which is like a couple of minutes. I create human bodies. Like
Mm-hmm.
I never learned anatomy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I have hardly any idea about anatomies, you know, process
Mm-hmm.
of creating anatomy. But still, it comes. It's called We the People series.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, Mostly, I create just a suggestion of a human body there, and
Mm-hmm.
that work is, it's another territory of doing
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But still, if you look at it, you can see uh, my my individual self there,
Mm-hmm.
without knowing my signature.
Yeah.
That subtlety I keep somehow,
Okay.
and it I keep it. That is the only thing I deliberately keep it,
Mm-hmm.
because then I can tell that this is me.
Mm-hmm.
Without even telling it is me, people
Correct.
can just look at it. Okay, they can
Correct.
they can
It has a
connect
signature
with it.
style. Yeah.
Yeah. So it is intuitively happens, and I'm very lucky about it. That's why I said it's very difficult to explain. I can get close to explain, but not
Yeah.
exactly tell how it happens. But it
So
is a conscious decision or conscious
yeah. Yeah.
process. Yeah.
Yeah. But another important observation, I mean, this is my observation about, like, especially abstract painters, we always, we travel from confusion to clarity.
Yeah.
It's like in the entire. But in couple of your paintings or in your visual language, I see that you equally play, you equally travel in a very beautiful and aesthetic way in the confusion zone. Now, this very few people can do. You can play around very beautifully aesthetically. You can compose in the clarity zone, but to play around with the chaos and the confusion zone, it's not that easy for everyone. So you compose well even in confusions. You express your now. How do you see this, that you equally play good, or you aesthetically present equally aesthetically present good even the confusion in the in art? So, how is that chaos or the confusion also being a part of your beautiful composition? I mean, can you throw some light on that?